He says he wants the money back, and judging by his past, he'll fight like heck to get it. Welcome into my state of mind. I am Dan York. Good Monday evening to you. You chilly? A little chilly this weekend? 50-plus guys shouldn't play golf on Sundays when the weather is 38 degrees and not getting any. So if I go, or something like that, when I turn to the camera, it's just, I'm still trying to get loose. Yoga helps, but even today, yoga didn't help. It's going to get nice and warm this weekend, so, okay. Charlie Lombardi is here. Go ahead. Enough said. He wants the money back. Stay tuned. He'll explain why. Let's go to the rundown and check out what's happening. You know, no one's going to tell Joe Biden when to get into this race. He's going to run his race when he decides to run his race. In case anybody was scoring at home, he's the vice president. I almost made him the president. That was Freudian. He's the vice president of the United States. He's got a little bit of equity and a little bit of name recognition. Here's the headline. Okay, so he's nearing it. And, you know, and Hillary's more or less saying, you know, Joe, or get off the pot. Listen in.
Have you made your decision yet?
While the vice president continues dodging questions about a presidential run, behind the scenes it appears an announcement could be imminent. One of his top political advisors, former Delaware Senator Ted Kaufman, sent a letter to former Biden staffers. In it, Kaufman said Biden is, quote, aware of the practical demands of making a final decision soon, and that if he runs, quote, we will need each and every one of you yesterday.
I just think he needs to decide what is best for him and his family.
On the campaign trail, some Democrats fear Biden waited too long.
You know what? I don't think so. I mean, there's some specific legal deadlines that he has to make. Now, fresh off Hillary's admittedly nice performance in the debate last time around, everyone said, oh, what a bad break for Joe. She sounded so good. But there's 5 more debates, and in a week, no one will remember the first one. Secondly, the Benghazi hearings are Thursday. And should she have a rough ride, you could see an announcement come Friday. It's all about timing in politics, isn't it? Next item. The Donald. I don't know why Jeb Bush keeps calling him Mr. Trump, by the way. If I was advising Jeb Bush, I'd say call him the Donald. It's demeaning. Why do we call him Mr. Trump all the time? As if he's, you know, on the right hand of the Lord. Mr. Trump. Just thought I'd ask that question. It's a headline all day long. The two of them are fighting. 9/11's at the heart of it, it seems. And Donald Trump coulda, woulda, shoulda, he says.
Jeb said, we were safe with my brother. We were safe. Well, the World Trade Center just fell down. Now, am I trying to blame him? I'm not blaming anybody. But the World Trade Center came down. So when he said we were safe, that's not safe. We lost 3,000 people. It was one of the greatest, probably the greatest catastrophe ever in this country, if you think about it, right?
What would you have done?
Well, I would have been much different, I must tell you. Somebody said, well, it wouldn't have been any different. Well, it would have been. I believe that if I were running things, I doubt those families would have, I doubt that those people would have been in the country.
It is absolutely impossible to lay out any kind of proof of that, but it's a Trumpism. You know, projecting the future with no specificity and telling you that the past would have been better with absolutely no proof. And Jeb Bush is rather inept at saying so.
Look, my brother responded to a crisis, and he did it as you would hope a president would do. He united the country, he organized our country, and he kept us safe. And there's no denying that. The great majority of Americans believe that, and I don't know why he keeps bringing this up. Does anybody actually blame my brother for the attacks on 9/11? If they do, they're totally marginalized in our society. It's what he did afterwards that mattered, and I'm proud of him, and so are a bunch of other people. You don't have to have your last name named Bush to be able to understand that. And it just calls into question Mr. Trump's credibility as a commander-in-chief and an architect of a next, you know, the next generation foreign policy.
Yeah, but it doesn't question Mr. Trump's capability of luring you into a debate you really shouldn't be in, which is defending your brother. Not very smart, you know what I'm saying? And the other thing is, the Donald suggested in an interview this weekend that he had a bigger heart than George Bush and Barack Obama. A bigger heart. Now, I don't know anybody in my life that I've ever met that suggested that their heart was bigger than, you know, I'm smarter, I'm faster, I'm quicker, I'm more competent, I'm this, but I got a bigger heart. Heart might be one of the biggest words we have in the dictionary and one of the most intimate concepts. Now, if someone says, that guy's got a lot of heart, that means something. But who says, I've got more heart? Only Donald Trump, Mr. Trump. I don't know about this guy's heart. I know his head is fractured. I have no idea. Honest to God, I have no idea what he's thinking about. Could we throw this headline up, Laura? This is maybe even aroused. He's nuts. Do I need to remind you?
Anderson, you're looking at a block of granite when it comes to the issues.
It seems like pretty soft granite, though. I mean, you've been a Republican, you've been an independent.
Did you hear what I said
Democrat.
on the issues? I have not changed on the issues. I was a liberal Republican, then I was an independent, and now I'm a proud Democrat, but I have not changed on the issues. And I open my record to scrutiny.
In a story in the Providence Journal, referred to by the headline, Lane Chafee tells Tom Mooney that no one has asked him to leave the race. Well, no one in his family, I guess. Why? I have no idea. Has he not heard every caller to talk radio? Every host, every pundit, every opiner, on every level, in every place, in all of America? Woo! It's a beautiful mind. The fall socks. Well, we got the paw socks, and last week we theorized we could have the spring socks. We've talked about the war socks. And now the folks in Fall River are getting into the act here. The headline in the Herald News, perhaps, and the head of the Chamber of Commerce there was on WPRO late last week talking about the rationale.
The fan base of Fall River is part of the fan base of the Pawtucket Red Sox to this day. And it would be a lot easier to locate a stadium, or a lot more beneficial for the Pawtucket Red Sox to locate a stadium where the fan base currently is.
Not really. I guess. Okay. It's the Red Sox that are the brand. And the Red Sox are followed all around New England. And so lots of cities in New England could say that they have a Red Sox foundation because they do. And Springfield has got a big fat casino that's got a lot of money that they can't wait to throw down. And I would still bet Springfield is the odds-on favorite if we don't save the paw socks. And right now, nothing is being done to do so, in case you were scoring at home. And speaking of scoring, Mr. Brady and his teammates did plenty of that. Not sure the Patriots will lose this season. That's how good they are and how bad everybody else is. Keep your fingers crossed for my Giants tonight. We can just get Philly 4-2. All right, your state of mind is important to me. 228-1886, it is. Give me a ring. Let me know what you're thinking. Email me, Facebook post, all that kind of stuff. Did we have one today we were using? Did we forgot to do that?
We don't have one.
We did. Oh, we just forgot to do it. I am concerned about your state of mind, so we'll check in with you tomorrow. It's Monday. Charlie Lombardi, he wants his money. Or the town's money. Stay with us. So I don't know if you caught this headline late last week. This was interesting. Paul Labadia, who, you know, I've met him. He seems like a pretty nice guy, to be honest with you. There's a lot of nice guys in Rhode Island, though, that are in our pockets. And then this headline, they want the money. It's about $180,000, and Mayor Charlie Lombardi is here to say he wants the money. You want the money.
We're going to do whatever we can to get that money back and to make the taxpayers whole.
No bygones or bygones?
I have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that the taxpayers are recap every penny that we've been taken advantage of for.
By the way, welcome. Good to see you.
Pleasure to see you. I couldn't wait to come.
Let's, because you love this story.
Well, it's not the story.
You know, let me do this. Let me play the story. Then you can explain whether you love this story. Laura, can we roll this story?
Former Coventry Fire Chief Paul Labadia was taken into custody by the Rhode Island State Police Wednesday and brought to Superior Court, where he was arraigned before a judge. He's charged with 3 counts: 2 of obtaining money under false pretense and 1 count of falsifying a document. Labadia was collecting a state pension and medical benefits from his years as a North Providence firefighter, but he's accused of falsifying a document that inflated his years of service. Labadia was indicted by a statewide grand jury. Prosecutors say he took in $155,000 in medical benefits and $68,000 in COLA and pension payments. He pleaded not guilty. Outside court, Target 12 tried to question Labadia moments after his appearance before a judge.
Chief, any reaction? Chief? Chief, come on. Chief, any reaction? Chief, come on. Don't make me chase you. No reaction, Chief? To the indictment, what do you have to say about the whole situation?
Labadia was terminated as Coventry District Fire Chief after a Target 12 undercover investigation raised serious questions of accountability with the chief. In the wake of the report, his service elsewhere then came under the microscope of North Providence city officials.
All right, so chicken or the egg, not sure how this whole thing comes down, but Mr. Labadia, the chief, had his problems, and when Target 12 and Tim White did the two-step on him simply by not letting him go out of an interview, and he wasn't good. He's been jammed up ever since. Was it that story that brought attention to him in his time in North Providence?
Yes, based on what we know, Dan, when this situation happened in Coventry, it was someone that was a retired individual from our department that basically teed him up here.
Teed him up how?
In stating and making a statement and calling the retirement board and sending communications to the retirement board stating that he didn't have the time to retire. And I received a call from our fire chief approximately maybe a week later saying, "Hey, Mayor, we have a problem." I said, "Well, what's the problem?" He said, "I just want to inform you," and that he had received communication from the retirement board, requested information, and when our fire chief, who retrieves the same information that was put together for Mr. Labadia, checked the records, he said he didn't have the time.
How short is he?
I want to say they said a couple of years. But I mean, Dan,
people don't understand this. I don't even understand it. I mean, I get what your allegation is, that he's receiving or put in for. Is he receiving the retirement benefits, or did receive the retirement benefits?
Yes,
or
he
has
did.
been receiving?
He has been receiving them, and
and he's as we speak.
I don't know. I think the state, until this the litigation, so to say, was completed, stopped his retirement. With us, his health care, his COLAs, totals close to $180,000. This is just a sad commentary. This indictment of Mr. Labadia is a sad, commentary of the way that the North Providence Fire Department functioned at that time, especially under the former chief, Catanzaro. He's the same gentleman that, when he retired, had to return $49,000 of payments that he took, didn't belong to him. I mean, this was the norm there. It's too bad. It's sad. And I say all the time, Dan, that every once in a while, this contamination comes to the top. This is what happened then.
This is Ralph Mollis's mayoralty.
Yeah.
I can look that up. You don't have to.
I mean, but
that's not a tough answer.
But when you look at this, you have two gentlemen here, by the way. One's a fire chief. That fella, Mr. Labadia, was not just a regular firefighter. He was the chief's assistant. So they basically are the same office for 4 or 5 years. And to say that, you really didn't know the time, or whether he had the necessary time, that's a stretch. So that being said, let's talk about the money. We're talking with attorneys as we speak, and we're getting a game plan, and we'll be notifying those two gentlemen that they owe us $180,000.
Well, so will the court if he's convicted.
Well, we kind of stayed away from this whole situation while this investigation was going on. We didn't want to interfere. And basically, that was mentioned to us. So we chose not to interfere. But if I had my way, I would have, put a suit on both of those individuals a long time ago.
What do you know what the divvy is? The 180 grand between cash and health benefits?
I want to say the health benefits were, well, roughly, we have a health care plan that's roughly about $2,000 a month, for family plan.
The only reason I ask is so a substantial amount of the 180 G's is the health plan.
And then the COLA, yes.
It's one thing to have cash that has been paid to you. It's another thing to go find cash to replace health benefits. That money's not sitting in a safe somewhere. So that's going to be a hard one for him to pay back.
Right, and that's the game plan that's being put together right now as to exactly, how we're going to do what we have to and what we should do to get some of that money back.
What's the moral of the story in this particular case?
Moral of the story to me is that where I come from, you can't do this. This is not right. You can't take advantage.
Well, you come from North Providence. This kind of stuff happens all the time.
No, when I talk about my family, my integrity, you don't do it. And I'm going to get whatever I can back. I mean, whether it's in the form of cash, or whether it's in the form of maybe property.
Does it bother you that, I mean, North Providence is a small town. It's drama, and certainly, and I'll say this, I've said it a million times, I think so well better run by your mayoralty. But you know these guys. This guy's, he's got friends, relatives, your family, you got a history. This guy's no stranger to you.
No.
Right?
No, he's not.
Does it?
You
have to compartmentalize.
Well, when I hear
people in North Providence think, Charlie, you go back with this guy and blah blah blah. His mother, your mother, the friend of the. There's always something, right?
Well, it's not that close, but we do know we will cross paths.
But
maybe.
Somebody's close somewhere intersecting,
yeah, absolutely.
right? Right?
Absolutely.
That's part of why the culture doesn't get fixed.
When I leave here, Dan, I'm not going to be part of that. I'm not going to be part of that culture. Someone asked me about a month ago, what was your toughest job here? And I said, changing the culture, or trying to change the culture. And we've done a pretty good job. Pretty good job. I mean, we're A bond rated now. We were borrowing $10 million a year when I came here. Last 2 years, we haven't borrowed one penny. So it seems to be working. I think the people are supportive, so to say, and we're going to continue to do what we do.
Yeah. Some perspective on the rest of the place when we come back. Stay with us. Mayor, you talk about culture in North Providence. Talk to me about the culture in the state right now. What's your...
Look, I don't know that I could, the type of person that I am, that I, could go there and try to straighten some of the things out that I see. The waste is, and when it comes to waste, I can't tolerate that. It would be a handful, I'll tell you that. And I think that in general, the elected officials in the state of Rhode Island need to make their decisions based on what's best for everyone and not politics, because being politically correct, I can tell you, doesn't work.
Do you feel the same way I do about 38 Studios, that we need a crush, kill, destroy disposition here? We need hearings. The speaker should step up. The governor should fulfill her campaign promise with an outside audit. The attorney general should read a book about right and wrong and step out on a conflict of interest for appearance purposes only. That we need a cleansing, an enema, and if necessary, a figurative hanging of those who were responsible for this in order for the cloud of this state to be able to move away and we can start doing business with a clear mind?
I think that we need to vet out all of the hearings, all of the testimony, And as far as a hanging, that would have to come via the court system. But people want to know,
political,
and they need to know.
They need to know.
They need to know.
They need to know. I mean, you could be hung in the court of public opinion, for heaven's sake. There might be just political damage for some folks, but let's not kid ourselves. The former speaker's in jail, but not for this stuff. We got a former, finance chairman who's in Vermont, hiding with another job. We got a current speaker who says he knew nothing, and I'm not going to say I don't believe him, but he's done nothing to be able to give the people the process they want. And we've got an attorney general who doesn't seem to understand that when you voted for this thing, you cannot have any appearance of being administratively responsible for the investigation on this thing. Doesn't get it.
Well, I think the public in general want to know. And my answer to that would be very, very simple. Hey, look, I can make a fool out of myself. I don't need anyone else's help. So let's get through it. And let's find out what happened, and let the chips fall where they may.
What else is going on in town?
Our Camp Meehan is coming along very, very well. As you know, they were going to build 48 homes on that land prior to me coming there, but it abuts our Noddy Park right on Twin Rivers. It's coming beautiful. We are building a new public safety complex across the street from the high school, which will be a state-of-the-art complex. Both police and fire. The Justice Department has allowed it to become fire also. It's in the center of town.
This comes from the Google money?
Yes. Yep. But what will happen?
You want to talk about manna from heaven.
Look, we shored up the pension fund. No one thought we could do that.
By getting the waivers from the feds to do that.
Yep.
But manna from heaven, period. That the
Well,
Google money.
It was a good choice, a good decision when they asked if we would want to be involved. So my question was, tell me how it works. So they told me how it worked, and I knew it wasn't a great investment. We got involved, and here we are.
By the way, if you bumped into Link Chafee, would you advise him to continue? I had to ask you.
Oh,
seriously, come on.
I don't know why. Really. Shoes horses.
He says no one has asked him to get out.
If they ask me, I'll call them.
You'd call him?
If they ask me to.
But who's they?
The people.
I'm asking you, could you call him? The state of Rhode Island could use a break. All right, good to talk to you. Let us know how the chase for the 180 grand goes with Mr. Labadea.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation.
All right, when we come back, final words. Stay with us. Ken Block tomorrow night on 38 and a whole bunch of other things. I got 30 seconds left. What was the other part of this controversy that you were saying, Mayor?
Well, we also discovered that the former fire chief took a check for a 2-week payroll period for $20,000, and no one wants to answer for it. It came up when we wanted to give the present fire chief a raise, and I said,
have you asked him about it?
Oh, his wife's a councilwoman, and
what does she say?
They keep ducking the question. Won't answer.
Oh, that sounds to me like that's another show. Thanks.
I'll bring you the paperwork.
Thanks for throwing that at me last second. Speechless.